The sky over Zyphora was calm once more. The twin moons reflected on the lavender forests and golden cities, casting a soft light across the recovering landscape. Fires from the battle had been extinguished, and the energy shields guided by both humans and Zyphorans had been repaired. The planet was scarred but alive, and stronger than it had been before. Commander Cale Renshaw stood on the balcony of the flagship Iron Horizon, watching the citizens of Zyphora move through the streets. Children laughed as they played near repaired structures. Scientists and engineers inspected the remaining battle damage, and pilots trained in the skies above. The humans had not only defended the planet, they had transformed it into a world that could survive against any enemy. High Elder Valen approached Cale, his robes flowing softly in the evening breeze. "Commander," he said, voice full of respect, "your people, your courage, your guidance, it has changed us. We are no longer just peaceful observers of our world. We are defenders. Warriors in our own right." Kyle smiled faintly. "You always had the ability. You just needed to see it, and sometimes a little push from DEATHWORLDers helps." Lyra walked beside them, her energy shimmering softly under the moonlight. She had spent days working closely with the humans, learning their tactics, their survival skills, and most importantly, their fearless approach to impossible odds. She now moved with a confidence she had never known before. "They respect you," she said quietly to Cale, nodding toward a squad of Zyphoran pilots performing aerial maneuvers. "They are learning from you, but they are also inspired. We could not have survived without you." Kyle shook his head. "It wasn't just us. It was all of you. The humans only showed the way. You took it and ran further than I ever imagined. That's what makes you strong." The enemy fleet had retreated, licking their wounds and regrouping far beyond Zyphora's orbit. Reports indicated that their leader, a ruthless commander who had attacked countless peaceful worlds, had been shocked by the unexpected strategy, bravery, and unity of the humans and Zyphorans. Cale addressed the Zyphoran leaders and the assembled citizens. "The battle is over for now, but do not forget what you have learned. You are stronger than you realize. You survived against overwhelming force. That is something no one can take from you. And the humans who fought beside you, remember this. Courage, ingenuity, and teamwork. These are the tools of survival, and you have them now." For the Zyphorans, it was a revelation. They had relied on intelligence and observation their entire lives, but the battle had taught them the importance of action, daring, and trust in one another. They had learned that survival was not just about defense, but about courage in the face of the impossible. Over the following days, humans and Zyphorans worked together to strengthen planetary defenses. Energy shields were enhanced, city structures fortified, and forests were mapped for tactical advantage. Humans taught the Zyphorans how to anticipate enemy movements, improvise in real time, and use the natural world as part of a defensive strategy. Kyle knew their work was not finished. "We cannot stay forever," he said. "But we can leave you stronger than ever. You will not need us for every battle. You are capable now, and that capability, that is what will keep your world safe." Lyra looked around at the floating cities, the lavender plains, and the strengthened defenses. "I never imagined Zyphora could become like this," she said softly. "Stronger, wiser, and ready for anything." Cale nodded. "It was always possible. You just needed guidance and courage to take the first step." The humans began to prepare for departure. Pilots packed their ships, engineers finalized adjustments, and soldiers checked supplies for the journey home. Zyphorans gathered to bid farewell, a mixture of gratitude, respect, and admiration in their eyes. Tara, the young pilot who had first embraced human tactics, approached Cale. "Will you come back if we need you again?" she asked. Her voice was serious, but there was hope behind it. Cale placed a hand on her shoulder. "If the galaxy calls, humans will answer. But I have no doubt that you will be able to defend your world on your own next time. Today, you are no longer just citizens. You are warriors of Zyphora. Never forget that." The farewell was quiet but filled with meaning. Zyphorans had seen humans in action, not as conquerors but as mentors in courage and survival. The humans had shown them how to fight, think, and inspire each other. The bond between the species was solidified, stronger than any shield or weapon. As the human fleet lifted off from Zyphora, the planet looked small from orbit, its golden cities and lavender forests glowing under the twin moons. Commander Kale watched the horizon, knowing that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of challenges, threats, and worlds in need of help. Humans, the DEATHWORLDers, had proven once again that they were a force of courage and resilience, capable of turning the impossible into victory. Below, SciFi celebrated quietly. Citizens repaired damage, strengthened defenses, and began training for the future. Lyra stood on a balcony looking at the departing fleet. She felt a deep gratitude but also pride. They had survived, and they had done so with the guidance of humans who thrived where others would falter. High Elder Valen approached her. "You have changed," he said. "SciFi has changed. Humans have shown us a path, not just of survival but of strength, courage, and unity. We will honor that path," Lyra nodded. "Yes, and we will continue learning. We are not the same world we were a week ago. Humans have left their mark on us, and it is a mark of hope." Kyle's voice echoed over the comms one last time. "Remember, SciFi, courage is universal. Adapt, fight, and survive. The galaxy may challenge you, but you are ready. And never forget, humans are watching, and we will always answer the call when it is needed." The stars stretched endlessly above, a reminder of the vast galaxy beyond SciFi. The humans disappeared into the void, leaving the planet stronger, wiser, and confident in its ability to survive. The legend of the DEATHWORLDers, the humans who thrived where others could not, would now be told across the stars. And SciFi, once a peaceful, vulnerable world, now stood ready. Its people had learned courage, adaptability, and unity. They had faced impossible odds and survived. With humans as allies, they knew that no force in the galaxy could easily destroy them. As night fully descended, the lavender forests glowed softly under the twin moons, and the floating cities shimmered with renewed energy. SciFians moved through their homes and streets with purpose, training, repairing, and planning for the future. They were no longer just citizens. They were defenders of their world. And somewhere beyond the stars, humans watched quietly, knowing that their efforts had not only saved a planet, but had also planted the seeds of courage and resilience that would ripple through the galaxy for generations to come. For the first time, SciFi's skies were safe, its people united, and its future bright. The story of human courage, of DEATHWORLDers answering the call of a desperate world, would be remembered forever, not as a tale of conquest, but as a tale of hope, unity, and the indomitable spirit of survival. And thus, the galaxy witnessed once more why humans were feared, admired, and respected across countless worlds, not because of sheer strength, but because of their ability to face the impossible, adapt, and triumph where others would fail. The legend of SciFi and the DEATHWORLDers had only just begun. Astra 9 was not a friendly planet. Its skies glowed with strange green light, and jagged mountains clawed at the clouds like teeth. Dust storms rose without warning, and the seas churned with violent, unpredictable waves. Yet humans had chosen this place. To the settlers, this harshness was a challenge, a puzzle to be solved, not a threat to fear. They built their homes in sturdy domes, planted crops in carefully protected zones, and learned to live with what the planet offered. Captain Alara Voss stood on the observation deck of the colony's command center, watching the storm swirl over the horizon. Her hands rested on the metal railing, her mind racing through the day's reports. Sensors had picked up unusual signals earlier, strong bursts of energy from deep space. At first she thought it was just cosmic noise, but then came the readings. Small, sharp transmissions repeating in an almost rhythmic pattern. Alara frowned. It could be nothing, or it could be trouble. Lieutenant Mara Jin, her second in command, came up beside her. "The pattern isn't random. It looks deliberate, almost like a call for help, a call for help. On Astra 9, that could only mean one thing. The colony was not alone, and something was in danger. The small human fleet in orbit was already on high alert. Astra 9 had only a handful of ships, light scouts, mining transports, and a few defense vessels. None of them could face a full-scale attack. But humans had always been clever with limited resources. They had learned to turn weakness into strength, improvising when the odds were against them. Alara activated the colony's long-range transmitter. The signal would broadcast to nearby space, reaching any ships or stations within light years. She hesitated only a moment before sending the SOS. It was a simple message: help. A human colony in danger. Far beyond the human sensor range, across the cold darkness of uncharted space, The SOS signal blinked into the receivers of the DEATHWORLDer fleet. The DEATHWORLDers were legendary across known space. Stories of their merciless campaigns of planets laid bare and fleets shattered were whispered in fear. Yet the signal caught their attention. Fleet Commander Thrix leaned over the tactical table, his many eyes scanning the data. "Humans," he said, his voice low and filled with calculation. "They are in the system Astra 9, and they are calling for aid," one of his lieutenants hissed. "Humans? Why should we care? They are insignificant compared to our fleet. They could not even defend a small outpost if attacked." Thrix's gaze was sharp. "Do you see the pattern in their transmission? It is not desperation alone. There is intelligence. They are calling for help, yes, but the signal is encoded with clever variation. They are not begging blindly. They are asking strategically. This is unusual." The DEATHWORLDers debated for long minutes. Humans were weak, unpredictable, and often considered a minor nuisance. Yet there was something about this SOS, something in the signal structure that suggested a species with courage and cunning. In the end, curiosity won. The fleet would mobilize, not out of mercy, but to observe and perhaps test these strange, resourceful beings. Back on Astra 9, the human scientists were already analyzing the stormy readings from the planet's surface. "Energy surges," said Dr. Kellen, the colony's chief scientist. "They are unlike anything we have seen. Could be natural, could be artificial. Either way, they are dangerous," Ilara nodded. "Keep monitoring. Alert the fleet. If something comes through the atmosphere, we must be ready." The humans were not idle. Workers reinforced the dome shields, armed the defensive cannons, and loaded the limited supply of energy drones into orbit. Every person in the colony understood the stakes. Astra 9 was harsh, but humans were tougher. They had survived worse. Hours passed, and the green-lit storms raged on. Then, the first signs of approaching ships appeared on the sensors. They were enormous, almost too big to comprehend. The DEATHWORLDer fleet was moving with precision, slicing through the dark space like predators sensing movement. Humans stared at the screens wide-eyed. This was not an ordinary response. This was something far beyond anything they had expected. Ilara's voice was steady but carried a hint of awe. "Everyone, stay calm. Observe their movement. Note everything. They may not be here to attack, but we cannot be sure. The aliens did not act immediately. Their ships hovered in orbit, scanning, analyzing. They did not send a greeting. They did not fire a weapon. They simply watched, and the humans watched back." Mara Jin whispered, "They're huge, but they aren't attacking. Why are they just looking?" Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Because they are curious. They have never seen humans in this region, and something about us has caught their attention. We need to show them that we are worth noticing, not with firepower but with action." The first test came unexpectedly. Sensors detected a massive energy surge in the northern plains of Astra 9. A storm, but unlike any storm humans had encountered before. The ground shook. Structures trembled. Dust clouds rolled like giant waves. "Everyone to stations," Ilara ordered. "Deploy the drones. Reinforce the shields." The humans moved with practiced efficiency. Drones were launched to counter the storm's destructive energy. Shields hummed as energy barriers absorbed and redirected blasts. Even with the DEATHWORLDers observing, humans were not panicked. They adapted. They improvised. Dr. Kellen monitored the storm's core. "It's artificial. Someone or something is generating this energy surge." Ilara's heart raced, but she stayed focused. "Then we neutralize it. Mara, lead the drone teams. I'll coordinate from here." Minutes felt like hours. The storm raged with violent intensity, but human ingenuity shone. Drones moved in intricate formations using the storm's own energy against it. Shields absorbed hits, redirected, and stabilized. Slowly, the surge weakened. Commander Thrix observed the human actions through his fleet's sensors. "They are resourceful," he murmured. "They are not strong individually, but collectively they adapt. They improvise. This is unexpected." For the humans, the storm's end brought a mix of relief and triumph. It was a small victory, but a meaningful one. They had survived an artificial catastrophe with intelligence, courage, and teamwork. Ilara allowed herself a small smile. "They are watching us," she said, "and we just showed them who we are." The DEATHWORLDers did not respond immediately. They did not congratulate. They did not attack. But the silent acknowledgement in their observation was unmistakable. Humans were not prey. Humans were something else, something unpredictable, clever, and alive with spirit. As night fell over Astra 9, the green storm subsided, and the first stars began to shine. The humans looked up at the alien fleet hovering above their planet. It was terrifying, yes, but it was also a reminder. Survival required courage, intelligence, and unity. And humanity had all three in abundance. Alara stood at the observation deck once more, watching the distant lights of the DEATHWORLD ships. "They will test us," she said quietly. "We must be ready. But if they think they are the only ones who can survive, they are wrong. Humans survive. Humans adapt, and we will show them why." Somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the DEATHWORLD commander made his decision. This was no ordinary species. They were resilient, clever, and unafraid. Astra 9 had sent an SOS, but what it had really done was announce humanity's presence to the galaxy in a way that could not be ignored. The night was silent, but a storm was coming. Not just on Astra 9, but across the stars. Humanity had made contact with the most feared fleet in known space, and somehow for the first time the humans had hope that they could not only survive, but make the universe notice them. The sun rose over Astra 9, casting a pale green light across jagged mountains and sprawling dust plains. The storms had settled, leaving the air thick with charged particles. But the humans did not relax. Captain Ilara Voss knew that the quiet was only temporary. "Status report," she ordered, standing in the command center, her gaze on the holographic projection of the planet and orbiting ships. Lieutenant Mara Jin pointed to the screens. "The DEATHWORLD fleet is still in orbit, Captain. They are scanning, but no movement toward the planet yet. Their formation is tight, precise. Every ship is in position and their sensors are sweeping the planet systematically." Ilara frowned. "They are watching. But why not attack? They could obliterate us in minutes if they wanted." Mara shrugged. "Maybe they are curious. Or maybe they want to see how we handle ourselves." Ilara nodded. "Then let's make sure they see something worth watching." The humans began preparing for another test, not knowing what form it would take. Engineers reinforced the colony's shields. Scouts mapped potential threats in the surrounding terrain. And drones were placed strategically in orbit and on the surface. Every human in Astra 9 understood that survival now meant demonstrating intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Hours passed. Then the first indication of real danger arrived. A massive energy surge appeared near the planet's northern equatorial zone. It was unlike anything the humans had seen before. Waves of heat and light pulsed upward, accompanied by low-frequency vibrations that shook the ground. "Another storm," muttered Dr. Kellen, the colony's chief scientist monitoring the data. "But this one is not natural. Someone or something is generating it intentionally." Alara's jaw tightened. "Then we face it and we do not falter. Mara, deploy the drones. Everyone else maintain shields and observation. Show them what humans can do." The drones rose into the air, small but agile, equipped with sensors and countermeasures. They zipped through the violent energy waves, recording data, absorbing impacts and redirecting energy wherever possible. Humans on the ground coordinated with precision, moving quickly to reinforce weak points in the domes and protective structures. The DEATHWORLDers watched silently from orbit. Commander Thrix's multiple eyes scanned the humans' activity. They are efficient. They anticipate, adapt, and coordinate. Even under pressure, they remain calm. This species may be weaker physically, but mentally, there is strength here. In orbit, the DEATHWORLDers did not interfere. They observed, recording every human action, noting patterns, and analyzing tactics. Their ships were enormous, far more advanced than any human craft, yet they held back. The humans had something their technology could not replace: resilience. On the surface, the energy surge intensified. Buildings shook and dust clouds obscured vision. Drones maneuvered through the chaos, deflecting blasts with precise adjustments. Mara Jin's voice came over the comms, steady and confident. "Captain, the drones are holding. The surge is stabilizing. If we continue this pattern, we can neutralize it." Ilara nodded. "Keep going. We show them our ingenuity, not fear." The humans worked tirelessly, coordinating drone movements, adjusting energy shields, and improvising as the artificial storm shifted unpredictably. They used the planet's terrain to their advantage, funneling energy bursts into safe zones and redirecting excess energy into uninhabited plains. Slowly, the surge weakened, then collapsed entirely. A collective sigh of relief swept through the colony. They had survived. Not by overwhelming power, but by intelligence, courage, and teamwork. Above, the DEATHWORLDers registered the victory. Thrick spoke quietly to his lieutenants. Humans are not like other species. They do not rely on strength alone. They adapt. They learn. They survive. There is potential here. Ilara allowed herself a brief smile, knowing the aliens had seen what she hoped they would. They are watching, she said, and we just proved that humans are not to be dismissed. The next hours were tense. Humans anticipated further tests, yet nothing immediate occurred. The DEATHWORLDers maintained their orbit, scanning, analyzing, yet refraining from interference. It was clear that observation was the first stage. Assessment, evaluation. Humans had to demonstrate more than courage. They had to show ingenuity, strategic thinking, and adaptability under pressure. Then the unexpected happened. Small ships from the DEATHWORLDer fleet began descending into the planet's upper atmosphere. They were not attacking. They hovered, moving with precision, deploying sensor arrays and scanning devices. Looks like they want to study us up close, Mara said, watching the monitors. Not destroy us, just examine. Ilara's mind raced. We need to show them we are more than survivors. We need to show them humans can plan, adapt, and act intelligently under unknown circumstances. Mara, organize a field team. Take drones, supplies, and set out to engage them indirectly. Make them see our capability without direct confrontation. The field team assembled quickly. Humans loaded drones with sensors, mapping devices, and defensive countermeasures. The goal was not to attack, but to demonstrate strategy. Every movement had to be deliberate, calculated, and intelligent. The team moved toward the northern plains, where strange energy formations still lingered from the previous surge. Mara coordinated drone flights, ensuring the team avoided danger while manipulating the environment to demonstrate tactical thinking. Small barriers redirected energy flows. Devices absorbed residual energy. Sensors recorded data, analyzed patterns, and sent results back to the colony. Thrix observed carefully. They think in layers. They plan ahead, anticipate outcomes, and adapt to changes. This is sophisticated behavior. The DEATHWORLDers made no move to interfere, but they did communicate silently among themselves. Assessments, comparisons, and calculations. Humans, they realized, were unpredictable, but not chaotic. They followed logic, adapted strategies, and used limited resources to maximum effect. Hours passed. The field team returned to the colony, exhausted but triumphant. They had completed their demonstration, proving their ability to act under stress, plan ahead, and adapt intelligently. Every member knew that the aliens had watched and that their performance had left a strong impression. Ilara debriefed the team. You did well. This is the first time we've interacted with such a fleet, and we have shown them that humans can think, act, and survive. They may be powerful, but intelligence, courage, and adaptability are our strengths. Remember that. That is how humans endure. As night fell over Astra 9, the DEATHWORLDer ships remained in orbit, silent, observing, and recording. They did not speak, they did not act, yet their presence was undeniable. Humans had survived their first test. They had proven that fear could not dictate action, that ingenuity could triumph over raw power, and that the human spirit could shine even under the scrutiny of the galaxy's most feared species. Ilara watched the distant lights of the fleet, her mind filled with both apprehension and hope. They will test us again, she said quietly, and we must be ready. But we are humans. We survive, we adapt, and we will make them understand that no one underestimates humanity lightly. Somewhere deep in the DEATHWORLDer command, Thrix considered the humans further. They are unpredictable, but strong in ways we have not encountered. Perhaps they are not to be dismissed. Perhaps there is value in observing them further, even engaging with them. The night on Astra 9 was quiet, yet the planet trembled slightly with the residual energy of the day's events. Humans moved among their domes and stations, tired but resolute. They had survived storms, artificial dangers, and the watchful eyes of a fleet meant to inspire terror, and they had prevailed. For the first time, humans knew that the galaxy had noticed them, not as prey, not as insignificant beings, but as a species capable of remarkable courage, intelligence, and spirit. Ilara allowed herself one last glance at the sky. We've made them see us, she whispered. And this is only the beginning. The DEATHWORLDer fleet continued its silent observation, waiting, calculating, and preparing. Humans had passed the first stage, but more challenges would come. More tests, more opportunities to prove that, in a universe of unimaginable power, intelligence, courage, and adaptability could change the way even the most feared species viewed humanity. And Astra 9, harsh and unyielding, stood as a testament to that truth. Humanity could survive, adapt, and thrive, even under the watchful eyes of the galaxy's deadliest observers. Astra 9 woke to another day of green-tinted sunlight cutting through the jagged mountains. The storms had passed, but the planet's atmosphere still crackled with residual energy from the previous day. Humans worked tirelessly, repairing minor damages, reinforcing domes, and recalibrating their drones. Yet the shadow of the DEATHWORLDer fleet loomed overhead, silent and unyielding. Captain Alara Voss gathered her officers in the command center. "We know they are observing us," she said. "And now, it is time for us to prove our worth. They may test us. We do not know what form it will take, but we must show that humans can survive, adapt, and think under pressure." Dr. Kellen looked up from his console. Their observation is more than curiosity. They are calculating our responses. Every action we take is being analyzed for patterns, strategy, and intelligence. Alara nodded. Then we act intentionally. Every move we make is a message. Humans are resilient, clever, and united. Hours later, the first true challenge appeared. Sensors detected a series of unstable energy fields forming across the northern plains. Unlike previous storms, these were concentrated, highly volatile, and moving unpredictably. Mara Jin approached Alara. "It looks dangerous. If we do not respond, it could destroy the outlying settlements." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Then we respond, not just to survive, but to demonstrate our capability." The human team prepared for action. Drones were equipped with energy-absorbing shields, sensors, and portable disruption devices. Field teams carried stabilization units designed to neutralize erratic energy surges. Every human involved understood that their performance was a statement to the fleet above. As the team approached the northern plains, the energy fields pulsed with violent intensity. Lightning-like arcs danced between pillars of charged particles, scorching the ground. Dust rose in thick clouds, reducing visibility. But the humans pressed on. Mara coordinated the drones, directing them to form protective barriers and redirect energy away from human personnel. Engineers deployed portable stabilization units, carefully positioning them to absorb and redistribute energy bursts. Every action was deliberate, every step calculated. "Captain," Mara's voice came over the comms, steady despite the chaos. "The surges are changing pattern. They are reacting to our interference. It's as if the environment itself is learning." Alara smiled faintly. "Then we adapt faster. Observe, calculate, act. That is how humans survive." The DEATHWORLDers watched silently, analyzing every detail. Commander Thrix's eyes reflected interest. They respond to changes intelligently. They anticipate outcomes and adjust strategies quickly. The species is remarkable. As the humans advanced, they discovered the source of the energy surges, a series of ancient alien devices, partially buried in the plains. They were active, pulsing with unknown power, and appeared designed to test intruders. Dr. Kellen examined the devices. These are not natural phenomena. They were left intentionally, perhaps as a defense system. If we neutralize them correctly, we survive. If we fail, the results could be catastrophic. Alara studied the devices. Then we neutralize them. Not recklessly, but strategically. Mara divided the team into 2 units. Observe the patterns, predict the next pulse, and act before the energy strikes. The team moved with careful precision. Using drones as scouts and stabilization devices as shields, they analyzed pulse sequences, mapped safe zones, and calculated angles of deflection. They were outmatched in technology but compensated with ingenuity, teamwork, and adaptability. One device emitted a sudden surge, stronger and more erratic than expected. Mara ordered the drones to intercept, creating a moving barrier. Engineers adjusted stabilization units on the fly. Sparks flew, energy arcs cracked through the air, yet no human was harmed. Thrix observed silently. Even under extreme conditions, they maintain composure. Their strategy is not instinct alone. They reason, adapt, and act as one. They are extraordinary. Another surge erupted, targeting a secondary team attempting to disable the devices directly. The humans reacted instantly, using drones to absorb the blast and redirect it safely. Mara calculated a new pattern, coordinating a simultaneous action with multiple units. Steady, Alara said. Watch the sequence. Act together. Humans survive when we think as one. Slowly, methodically, the team disabled the first of the alien devices. One by one, stabilization units absorbed and neutralized the energy surges. Dust settled, the hum of power dissipated, and the northern plains returned to relative calm. Back at the colony, the command center erupted in quiet cheers over the comms. "They've done it," Dr. Kellen said. "The energy fields are neutralized. The devices are inactive. They survived the first real challenge." Alara exhaled, relief mixed with pride. "They watched us. They saw humans succeed where many would fail. This is only the beginning. The next test may be harder." In orbit, Thrix communicated with his lieutenants. "They are clever, adaptive, and coordinated. Individually, they are fragile. Collectively, they are dangerous. Dangerous in a way that cannot be measured by strength alone. We must continue observation. Their potential is significant. The DEATHWORLDers did not intervene further. Their goal was not to destroy, but to assess. Humans had passed the first true test, survival under pressure with limited resources and complex challenges. That evening, Alara gathered her senior officers. "They will test us again," she said, "and the stakes will increase. But remember, humans survive by adapting, thinking, and acting together. That is our advantage. That is why we endure." Dr. Kellen added, "They are not only observing, they are learning from us too. Every strategy, every adaptation is being recorded. They may underestimate our numbers, but they cannot ignore our intellect and spirit." Night fell over Astra 9, the green light of the atmosphere casting eerie shadows across domes and mountains. The humans slept fitfully, knowing that observation continued and challenges would come. Yet there was a sense of pride. They had faced the first true test. They had proven that humans were not simply survivors. They were strategists, thinkers, and problem solvers under extreme conditions. Mara Jin, resting in her quarters, looked out at the night sky. "They are watching," she whispered. "But maybe they are beginning to respect us." Alara stood on the observation deck, scanning the distant lights of the DEATHWORLDer fleet. "Respect is earned, not given," she said. "And we will earn it one challenge at a time. Humans adapt. Humans survive. And the galaxy will learn that we are not to be underestimated." Somewhere deep in the vast expanse of space, Thrix considered the humans' performance. "They have passed the first test, but tests alone do not reveal all. We will observe further. We will see how they react to organized threats, to decisions that impact life and death. Only then will we understand the true potential of humanity." For Astra 9, the day ended quietly, but the humans knew better. Every moment of silence was a preparation for the next challenge. Every calm horizon was a reminder that survival depended on courage, intelligence, and unity. And somewhere above, the DEATHWORLDer fleet waited, silent yet present, preparing to test the species that had so far proven more clever and resilient than any had anticipated. Alara looked out at the stars, determination burning in her eyes. "We have passed the first test," she said softly. "But this is only the beginning. And no matter what comes, humans endure. We survive, we adapt, and we will continue to show the galaxy what humanity can achieve." The night on Astra 9 was still, but it was a calm before the storm. The real tests were yet to come, and humanity's resilience would be challenged in ways they had never imagined. Yet one truth remained unshaken. No matter the odds, humans could adapt, survive, and rise above. And for the DEATHWORLDers observing from the cold void above, it was clear, these humans were unlike any species they had encountered before. Astra 9's sky burned with a pale green light as the planet awoke to another day of tension. The DEATHWORLDer fleet hovered silently in orbit, massive and imposing, observing every human movement. Captain Alara Voss walked across the command center, her mind racing. "They've watched us through storms, through artificial challenges," she said. "But now, the real test is approaching." "I can feel it," Lieutenant Mara Jin nodded, checking the sensors. "Captain, we're picking up unusual movement near the southern sector. Not natural. Something is coming." The humans crowded around the holographic displays. A fleet of alien ships, smaller than the DEATHWORLDers but heavily armed, moved swiftly toward Astra 9. They were mercenaries, pirates of space, opportunistic and ruthless. The SOS signal had drawn them in. Ilara's jaw tightened. They think they can take the colony before the fleet even intervenes. We cannot allow that. Mara pointed at the orbital defense system. We are outnumbered but not outsmarted. If we use the terrain, the drones, and our shields cleverly, we can hold them off long enough for the DEATHWORLDers to respond, or at least survive their first wave. Ilara activated the communication array. All units prepare for engagement. This is not a retreat. Humans survive by thinking, by adapting, by acting together. That is how we win. The first wave of attackers struck the outskirts of Astra 9. Energy blasts tore through the thin atmosphere, carving trenches and scattering dust. But humans were ready. Drones zipped through the battlefield, absorbing blasts, creating energy shields, and redirecting fire toward the attacking ships. On the ground, teams reinforced structures, moved civilians to safe zones, and coordinated with orbital defenses. Humans were outnumbered, yet every action was precise, every decision deliberate. The attackers had strength, but humans had strategy. Mara Jin led a squad to flank an enemy unit approaching the northern ridge. Use the terrain, she ordered. They don't know the ground, we do. Make them regret every step. Using portable energy barriers and careful traps, Mara's squad lured the attackers into narrow passes. The alien ship's firepower was formidable, yet human ingenuity turned every advantage into a risk for the enemy. Energy pulses from the ground disrupted their targeting systems, forcing the attackers into disarray. Commander Thrix watched from orbit, silent and calculating. They are not relying on raw strength. They anticipate, adapt, and manipulate the battlefield. Individually weak, collectively brilliant. This is exceptional. The human fleet, though small, moved in tandem with ground teams. Scout ships darted around enemy formations, feeding intelligence and creating diversions. Mining transports, normally used for resource gathering, were repurposed as mobile shields, absorbing and deflecting attacks while drones created openings for counterattacks. Ilara moved between stations, calm and commanding. Focus on coordination. Every human must act as part of a greater system. They may be stronger in firepower, but we are smarter, faster, and more adaptable. Hours passed in tense engagement. The attackers pressed relentlessly, yet every advance was met with clever resistance. Humans used gravity wells, energy redirects, and improvised traps to level the playing field. Though small in number, they inflicted significant damage, showing a combination of courage, intelligence, and strategy the attackers had not anticipated. Then, just as the enemy seemed to gain ground, the DEATHWORLDers made their first move. Ships descended with precise calculation, massive vessels positioning strategically above the battlefield. They did not immediately attack, but provided subtle support, shielding key zones, absorbing the most powerful blasts, and giving humans a chance to maneuver. Ilara realized the significance instantly. They are aiding us, but not fully. They want to see how far we can go under pressure. Mara's eyes widened. We have a chance. Focus on the weak points. Strike together. The humans executed a synchronized attack. Drones and scout ships distracted the enemy fleet, while ground units set traps that disabled several enemy ships. Energy pulses and redirected fire forced the attackers into a vulnerable formation. Using timing, intelligence, and terrain, humans struck decisively. Ilara coordinated a strike targeting the enemy flagship. It was bold, perhaps reckless, but humans had prepared meticulously. Using drones as decoys and portable energy disruptors to confuse enemy shields, the attack succeeded. The flagship's systems failed, and the remaining attackers retreated, disorganized and demoralized. Commander Thrix studied the outcome. They did not merely survive. They dominated using intellect, strategy, and courage. The humans have proven their capability. Perhaps they are worthy of further engagement. The colony erupted in quiet celebration. Victory had been hard won, and the humans were exhausted, but they had survived an overwhelming assault. Not by sheer strength, not by numbers, but by ingenuity, courage, and unbreakable teamwork. Ilara addressed her team over the comms. Today we faced impossible odds. Today we showed that humans do not yield to fear or strength alone. We plan, we adapt, we survive. That is what makes us who we are. Remember this. Humanity survives not because we are the strongest, but because we are clever, united, and unafraid. The DEATHWORLDers remained in orbit, silent witnesses to the humans' performance. Their observation was no longer mere curiosity. Respect had begun to form. Humans were capable of complex thought, strategic planning, and decisive action under extreme pressure. Dr. Kellen, surveying the aftermath, commented, "They pushed us to our limits, yet we overcame." The Deathworlders have seen human ingenuity and spirit firsthand. They will remember this, Ilara nodded. And so will the galaxy. Today, Astra 9 proved that humanity cannot be ignored. We may be small, we may be outnumbered, but we are never outmatched in spirit or intelligence. As night fell over the battered plains, humans moved among their stations, repairing and fortifying. The energy of the day lingered in the air, a reminder of both danger and triumph. Families, workers, and soldiers alike understood that their survival had been a statement to the galaxy. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not insignificant. Humanity is resilient, intelligent, and courageous. Mara Jin stood beside Ilara, looking up at the lights of the Deathworlder fleet. "They watched us survive, Captain, and now they know humans are more than they expected." Ilara placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, Mara, and tomorrow the challenges may increase. But remember, we adapt, we survive, and we show the universe that humans are a force to be reckoned with." Somewhere across the void of space, Commander Thrix considered the humans' performance. They have surpassed expectations. Individually weak, but collectively brilliant. Perhaps humanity is a species to be observed, respected, and engaged with. They survive in ways no other species has demonstrated. Astra 9's night was quiet, yet the calm was temporary. Across the stars, distant signals hinted at further tests. Rival factions would not wait, and more challenges would inevitably come. Yet humans had proven something crucial. Courage, intelligence, and teamwork could overcome overwhelming odds. Ilara gazed at the distant stars, determination burning in her eyes. "We have passed another trial, but this is only the beginning. No matter what comes, humanity endures. Humanity adapts. Humanity survives." And above Astra 9, the Deathworlder fleet remained vigilant, silent yet fully aware. The humans had proven themselves in battle, and the galaxy's perception of humanity had begun to change. From now on, no one would underestimate the species that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast threats far greater than themselves.